Have you been wondering if you're wearing the right shoes for your workouts or at the gym, and if it actually makes a difference in how you perform in your workouts? Well, by the end of today's video, you're going to know why the type of shoes you wear makes a difference and how it can actually improve your workouts. Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name's Aaron. I'm an online fat loss coach and I put out one video a week. So if you want to keep getting updates for these types of videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. In today's video, we're going over the best footwear for the gym and if it actually makes a difference with the type of shoes that you wear. Because if you go to a shoe store or like a running store, there's walls and walls of shoes. They all do different things, and are some better than the others, or what are good for working out, what may be bad for working out. Today we're going to cover all that and the shoes that you should be wearing when you're working out. So does the type of shoe you're wearing actually matter? Yes, in most cases it does. The type of shoe you pick can have a large impact on how well you can perform certain movements and also how safe and effective some movements are as well. And there's basically two types of shoes that you could possibly get at the store if we break them down into two groups. And that would be shoes with a lot of cushion and support and a very neutral or flat shoe. Now you may be inclined to get a really stable shoe with lots of cushion to give you lots of support. But when you're doing certain exercises, what you want is you want to be able to be as close to the ground as you can and be stable. And by adding a lot of extra cushion and a lot of extra stability factors, it limits a lot of the potential gains you can get from an exercise. So if you get a shoe that is very squishy, when you go to do a squat or deadlift or a lunge, you will be less balanced compared to if you just had socks on. So if you have more cushion, you're not going to be as stable because your foot is going to be able to rock back and forth a lot easier. Also, if foot strength is something that you do need to work on, having that support will limit any potential foot strength gains you can get from working on your stability. So often having a sort of like a brace will just kind of give you more of a band-aid to the problem instead of working on the actual solution. So if you do need like orthotics or actual like support insoles or something like that, that is okay to put in your shoes. That's perfectly fine. But try to avoid shoes with a lot of cushion because that will make you more unstable in a lot of exercises and could potentially be a little unsafe depending on the exercise. As well, if you are trying to get stronger, the more cushion in your shoe, the more you're actually going to sink down when you try to produce upwards force. So having a really thick sole or a lot of cushion in your sole is going to limit the amount of force you can actually produce. So you're not going to be able to lift as much weight. It's not going to be a huge amount of weight, but if you are trying to really maximize your numbers, that could be a limiting factor. So what kind of shoes would I recommend if I'm telling you not to get a very cushioned shoe? I would keep an eye out for a shoe that is relatively neutral. Even if you have orthotics, you can still wear a neutral shoe and put your orthotics in there, so that'll be okay. And the purpose of a neutral shoe is that it's very flat. So if we look at a shoe like these are, I think they're the CrossFit Nanos. I don't remember. They are fairly flat. Don't mind the cat hair on them. They're fairly flat on the bottom and they're still flexible. There's not as much cushion in them. So you're not going to be going for like long walks or anything. These are for working out. Nice and flat and nice and stable. This is going to allow you to have a firm contact with the ground with a flat foot and be a lot more stable as well because it is more firm here too. It's going to be a lot easier to produce force without having a cushion you're actually pushing down on. So with using a neutral shoe, you're going to be able to get the 3 points of contact, which are big toe, pinky toe, and heel, a lot easier because you're going to be able to feel yourself almost grip the ground, and a neutral shoe is going to accommodate that. So in terms of foot mechanics and the amount you can get out of an exercise, a neutral shoe would be the best route to go. So it doesn't have to be anything expensive like this. You can also get more of a kind of like a neutral running shoe as well. This one has some more cushion in it, so if you do need a little bit of support compared to one of these kind of shoes, I would recommend more of a neutral running shoe. So a neutral lifting shoe or a neutral running shoe would be optimal. So you can easily put insoles or orthotics in these if you need, but these will allow you to be more stable in the exercises and ultimately do them a little more efficiently and safer. So at this point, you may agree with me on neutral shoes, but you may be asking, what about squat shoes or those fancy lifting shoes I see people wearing in the gym? Well, if we get a pair, these are the old Do-Wins. These are a fairly old lifting shoe, but they are reliable and very sturdy. These are what's called an Olympic weightlifting shoe. You'll notice by the raised heel, they're also fairly firm. There is basically no support. It's kind of like rock hard inside. So if you are someone that really wants to maximize their squat, I would recommend a squat shoe or a neutral shoe. If you are someone that doesn't have the most mobile ankles and you can't get a lot of dorsiflexion, then this will allow you to actually get slightly deeper into your squat because your foot isn't just flat, it's kind of more up here. So you'll be able to have more knee travel, which will help you get a lot deeper. As well, just like the neutral shoe, these are very sturdy. So when your foot's actually planted in the ground, it's not going to wiggle about. There's Velcro straps on them to keep you locked in, and your foot isn't going to sink down. It's not going to go side to side. You're locked in, so you're gonna be stable, safe, and be able to produce a large amount of force. So the reason why I recommend a neutral shoe is because these can be a lot more diverse. If you get a squat shoe or Olympic weightlifting shoe, these are meant for Olympic lifting or squatting. You would not want to do a deadlift with these shoes. I would not recommend it. So in order to maximize everything you want to do in the gym, I would recommend trying to invest in a neutral shoe. So basically, in summary, why you want a neutral shoe is because you're going to be more stable. You're going to have a more firm contact with the ground, and you're going to not be able to like squish in your shoe when you're actually lifting. Because if you're someone that balance is an issue, having a shoe that makes that balance even worse is going to give you a lot harder time. So you want something that allows you or accommodates for actual improvements in balance and stability and allows you to just maximize what you can get out of your exercises. So to answer the question from the start of the video, yes, there is a best or preferred type of footwear for the gym, and it can make a big difference. You may not really realize the benefits if you've never had a neutral shoe and just had a lot of support your whole life. And if you're just starting out at the gym, I would say getting more of a like cross trainer or neutral running shoe would be best, because these can be very diverse. You can still go for your walks or your runs. You can still lift very efficiently in these. Whereas if you're someone a little more advanced and you're doing slightly more advanced workouts, I would recommend trying to get a neutral lifting shoe where there's a little less cushion in these compared to a neutral running shoe, and it's a lot more stable and it's gonna lock you in a little more. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, slightly different topic than usual, and hopefully it gave you some insight onto why you want certain footwear when working out, and if there is actually a benefit to wearing different types of shoes. So if you would want anything more in depth, this was more of a basic overview to give you a good idea of what shoes would be best for working out. Just let me know down in the comments and I can make a more detailed explanation for you. So I appreciate all of you, Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button down below. See you guys next time.